Out in the dark, the stars align. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Signals flashing, a secret sign. Sasquatch whispers, UFOs glide. Mysteries unfold, can't hide, can't hide. Voices in the static calling me, calling me. A cosmic rhythm setting me free. SNX, feel the vibe, let it flow. Connections glowing, don't you know? SNX, light the night, let it show. Cosmic groove, we're ready to go. In the woods, shadows move, move. Skyline flickers, it's a neon groove. Expert stories witness sight, unravel truth in the cosmic light. Voices in the static calling me, calling me. A cosmic rhythm setting me free. SNX, feel the vibe, let it flow. Connections glowing, don't you know? SNX, light the night, let it show. Cosmic groove, we're ready to go. Let's go. Oh yeah, where the stars and secrets glow. Some Nation X radios glow. In the night, we'll ride the show into the unknown, unknown. When mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, own. Yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Night sky whispers in the dark. Secret trails will leave a mark. Follow close, ignite that spark. We're on a ride, it's just the start. Into the unknown, unknown. When mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, own. Yeah, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. So mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown. When mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, own. Yeah, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. It's every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. It's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown. When mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, own. Yeah, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. courage and wonder, we reach for the light, guided by visions that illuminate the night. Mystery cloaked in the past unknown, truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder, we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Of our galaxy. And as the horizons our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown, truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Through endless horizons our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Through endless horizons our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. Chasing the dreams that fill the night. A symphony nights we were not made. A symphony of wonder, the secret key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. First and love with the cosmos, whisper our name. A symphony of wonder under a celestial light. In the deep passing moment, our wisdom grows. In the dance of the universe, the truth flows. In the quiet of the night, we dream and fly, with questions that echo through an endless sky. Bound by the stars, our story unfolds. In the universe, our destinies are told. Unraveling the mysteries, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside, in the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
On the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bring shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller ring we'll never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright. let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand. Silence of space, we drift and we roam, finding our place in the vastness we call home. With courage and wonder unraveling the mystery, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside. In the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the Subnation Next Quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From the Subnation Next Quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller ring will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic art.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In the dance of truth, let the story expand.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of SNX Radio. And we've got tonight COLLAB. Actually, it's not just SNX Radio; it's Typical Skeptic Podcast. Rob and me, Coley. So, how you doing tonight, Rob?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm really excited about tonight. That music was banging.
I had a little glitch there just for a second. I got so close, but I did have to re-download everything. So I do apologize for the.
Well, hey, at least it wasn't like that one time. Remember with Michael?
Oh my God! Oh, we couldn't get it to stop. It was so funny. Oh my God!
And
I'll
you
never
showed a
forget
picture of him, and he was like on the screen by himself, and the music was just blasting. Like,
he ended up jetting out of there. It was like, oh my God, that was so funny. Yeah, so every once in a while you get caught up. Like Robs and I, we've had some we had some stuff. We've definitely been through some stuff together, but it's so funny when you can just sit back and laugh about it. But
that's not your fault. That's not your fault, by the way. That's StreamYard. That's 100% StreamYard. It does that to me too. Like sometimes when I'll play the intro to my show, it'll start playing it over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, I didn't ask for this. You know what I mean?
Right? Like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for it to keep repeating over and over and over. Yeah, when you're in those kind of situations, and you gotta love it too. People are like the first, what's going on? Why is it? And like, just bear with us. Just bear with us. But yeah, we have a really cool guest on today. Rob and I've got some exciting people coming up and some exciting shows. So this will be really cool for our collab. I mean, we've got some stuff. We're gonna pull some rabbits out of the hat. So, but yeah, tonight we're going Bigfoot again tonight. So we have a really cool guy. He's actually from the Midwest in Wisconsin. So I'm a little partial, as you all know. But yeah, no, Kev is he's super grounded, down to earth. He's absolutely just enjoyed him backstage. We were talking serial killers. So, and like 6 foot tall Iowans. That's just kind of sums it up right there. But without further ado, let me just get in and give you a little background on Kevin. You guys are really going to enjoy the show tonight. And two, if you have comments or questions or anything like that, put those into all caps and we'll definitely get to them. Special thank you to all of our chat moderators. We really appreciate each and every one of you. So just make sure, we missed something along the way. Scott Rosin, I know you're going to be the first one, but please, just let us know. But yeah, let's get into it. So Kev LeStrage, and I hope I didn't say that right, but we'll ask him when he gets on, because I don't know, I just slaughter the English language from time to time. But basically, all of his social media links, we went ahead and put those in the comments or in the description. So just go ahead and look in those if you're looking to follow Kevin. He's a Wisconsin-based field researcher and author with a lifelong fascination with Sasquatch. He has conducted numerous expeditions across the United States, including New Mexico, Texas, and Oregon, to investigate Bigfoot sightings and evidence. He has reported several Class B experiences, such as hearing tree breaks, rocks being thrown. I have like a fear of this for some reason. And vocalizations, breaks, rocks being thrown. Oh yeah, I just said that again. Like a baby blowing raspberries into a tree, I guess. He firmly believes that he is not a myth, that he shares his insights through various platforms, including Whispers from the Dark podcast and Untold Radio AM. So additionally, he's authored a children's book, Billy Finds Bigfoot. Oh, that's cool. Which promotes theme of curiosity, kindness, and respect for the nature through a story of a boy meeting Bigfoot. He resides in Lake County, Wisconsin, and continues to explore and advocate for the reality of Sasquatch. I know Bigfoot. Oh gosh, I got to stop saying Bigfoots all the time, because I know some people, they're a little touchy about the Bigfoot thing. So we're going to go Sasquatch if I can remember. But yeah, so you can go ahead and we're just, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring Kevin onto the stage and welcome him. Hi, Kevin. Welcome.
Hey, team. How are you?
Hi, Kevin. Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
Excellent. Excellent. So do you get offended if we say Bigfoot?
I personally don't. I think the more the offense from what I've heard from like the Bigfoot community is if you say something as squatchy, that is like where some tend to draw the line.
So
it's semantics. It's okay.
I know, no, because I was like squash. I heard like, so when I was thinking of a title for the show, they said that that's like slang. That's cool. We're gonna talk squash. Is that right? Or is that like
I mean, we're going to be discussing a large bipedal North American ape. Is maybe like the more scientific term of it.
Yes. Well, you're just gonna have to correct us, because
or Bigfoot.
So you've seen Bigfoot, you've encountered Bigfoot. Where did this fascination start?
There's a little movie in 1987 called Harry and the Hendersons. That is when it's with John Lithgow. I mean, that is really where it all kind of began, because what was interesting about the movie initially, but then I want to say in 95, when the internet got going, that's when actually the BFRO, Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, kicked off, and like that was the first place I went to on internet, on my Millennium Windows, right? Like is super janky computer that I had. But anyway, so it was Harry and the Hendersons, just because it was such a fascinating story that this family could go out in the woods. They're not expecting this thing to come into their lives. Neither was I well, technically I was, but I wasn't expecting it to get what I call the Bigfoot bug as hard as I had been bitten by it. So that to me is like the first pinpoint of where I was like, wow, I got to explore more.
That's awesome. I love Harry and the Hendersons. Like I saw Rob's face light up too when he said that.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, sorry.
What was great about that is that there's actually they must have done their homework, because there's been, as I've kind of shared on other podcasts before, but what they really nailed down was the fact that, there's a scene where John Lithgow says, I got to take care of this thing. I'm going to shoot it. And then he gets Harry in his sights and he can't pull the trigger. That is a story that has been told multiple times, where they see the human side of this creature and they can't do it. Or the fact that it'll kind of sniff the air, or it'll call out. I mean, certain things like that, where they really did a good job of doing their homework and actually making it as true to form as possible, I think. And even to, I think it was John Lithgow's dad in the movie, where he makes Harry this big monster creature in this big horror film, which is fun. That'll sell guns, or perhaps, right? And even movie tickets. But there's actually very little cases of any Bigfoots going out, we can get into that, but there are certainly cases where there has been some attacks, but they're more rare, I think.
So there have been Bigfoot attacks. Is that I've never?
Yeah. The one expedition that I did down near Houston, Texas, actually the Houston National Park there, we went with a group, and we were supposed to check out a campsite, or at least the area around a campsite that actually had been attacked by a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. And we were strongly derailed because apparently that area had been investigated by the FBI, because now, whether that was because it was Sasquatch and stay away from this area because the FBI is still investigating it, or whether or not that was a drug deal gone wrong and that was the cover up to a Sasquatch. That was the story that we were told, that we can't go there because the camp that we thought that we were investigating actually could have been more of a drug deal gone bad.
Wow.
But more or less, there's also been a lot of theory out there. I think it's on Netflix, but the 411 documentaries, they really allude to some type of presence taking campers, children, what have you. And whether it could be potentially more supernatural or alien or Sasquatch, they kind of lead the viewer on to those theories. But there's definitely been some instances of where Sasquatch has gotten aggressive and has attacked. And I'm happy to share another story of Los Alamos, where I was told by one of the, experts who was kind of leading one of the expeditions there, to just say, if this creature bluff charges, just sit down. I'm happy to get into that story if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we had Daryl Dunton on. I'm not sure if you know who he is, Tennessee Bigfoot guy, and
Yep.
he talked about it too, about the missing people in the parks and all that stuff that's going on, and too, on how he, with some of them built a relationship, and I was like, you just don't probably take the McDonald's cheeseburgers out and try and get their attention that way, or divert them, I guess, or I thought we could dress Rob up like a taco maybe and go out looking, but. I don't know how that would all work out, but I guess, what is your take? So people is that what they attribute to some of these like missing people in the park situations, that it might be like the old Sasquatch gone rogue or crazy?
I don't know, because there are instances where I think in one of the shows there was a woman who was with her family or something to that effect, and then was found completely naked in the fetal position. Like, don't know why. Hypothermia. I mean, there's certainly natural causes to certain things of why people go missing. Out in the Pacific Northwest, there are also like volcanic pipelines, if you will. I don't know the exact terminology, but there's certain like valleys and pits of volcanic tubing that exists out there. And like, yeah, you could fall into one of these tubes and like never be seen again. We just don't quite know. Or I would say I don't quite know. But then again, if someone has ever experienced that or has been picked up in your backpack, like one story, or your sleeping bag, like one story, then possibly, but I don't know yet.
That was a thing too. Daryl had talked about how they don't like guns. There's certain things that they definitely don't like. Did you notice any of those kind of like attributes? Like somebody in chat, Spiderbite, had brought it up. They said they don't like guns, and I was like, that just reminded me when Daryl was talking too about that. There was just, he said,
I don't think they like people.
Yeah,
I think it's what's carrying the gun. I don't think they would necessarily. I think they look at people for perhaps entertainment. They also, especially women and children, it's more of like a curiosity and perhaps like the tone of their voices. The high pitchedness is entertaining or at least interesting to them, but I think it's who's carrying it. And I really think that all you would have to see, perhaps as a Sasquatch, if you put yourselves in their feet, is you see a hunter make a loud noise with a stick, and then there's this deer that is dead, or this elk that is dead, or this bear, or what have you. I think they realize right away that that's not a good creature to be around, especially ones with a stick. That's what I would surmise.
Oh, we were talking before about the rocks or excuse me, I guess when I was reading your bio, my brother and I went out and we were looking for one, and I just remember we're standing there and it's really dark, and he grabs a rock and he goes and throws it in. I was like, we got to get out of here now, Eric. I was like, there's going to be a boulder that's coming for us.
That's right. Yeah.
What would you do? You just did that. I was like, we got to get out of here. But yeah, do you think that, I guess, what's your take on them? Are they interdimensional? Are they here living among us and we just, stay out of our way? Or what do you think?
As I'm sure most of your audience knows, but for those who might not, I think there are two camps. One is the kind of the woo camp. One is the other, more flesh and blood. This is a ape camp. For me, candidly, I'm pretty much on the fence, just because I can't share someone else's experience if I didn't experience it with them, but I don't want to be the one that says, no, your experience, I'm going to dismiss your experience. One story that I like to tell is that there was a story out there where an individual actually saw a Bigfoot come out of a spaceship, a UFO, or what is another term for the unidentified aerial phenomenon? And so that is kind of where the Sasquatch came out of this saucer, and it was handcuffed to a briefcase and then kind of like walked off into the woods or disappeared, right? I can't dismiss that. I think that's a lot to consume and a lot to internalize. And I immediately think, okay, maybe you saw Blues Brothers and you took some drugs, something, you had an enhancement of your vision, something happened. But then again, I don't want to call that out, because maybe that did happen. There's certainly, there's a couple of videos online that you might see where there's these cloaking attributes of figures that you might find in a forest, movement where it's nothing was seen. And that's, again, called kind of cloaking, more like the predator type of, literally like the fluorescent kind of, or incandescent, I don't know the right term there, but like the invisible, shadowy movement. That to me is very interesting. And a lot of those think that actually that the hair on a Sasquatch is actually just so that it actually blends in with the lights. So as you are walking or driving or running or whatever it might be, you might actually not see a Sasquatch because of the fact that their hair follicles are actually a little bit clear, kind of like a white clear. I think that there's possible explanations for all of it. As far as more of the alien side of things, I mean, or interdimensional even, I think that there's so much of this world that we don't know. And I kind of say, sure, why not? And if that is the case, that they are interdimensional, one argument that I heard, which was very interesting, is, well, then why don't they show themselves in like New York City? Why is it always just a forest? Or maybe that's where the portals are. But I think that and I'll even tag off of this person's here, even like genetically modified. I mean, that would have to, there's a lot of scientific acceptance that I think that that either the public or like another superpower government beyond that perhaps would have to know to then actually realize that, yes, these creatures do or can change dimensions. We're acknowledging that there even are dimensions. I think that piece to me is where it gets tricky to prove something like that, or even any type of DNA modification, because you have to prove it, and that's super hard. Because in the scientific side of things, we can't even prove that even a footprint is real, let alone any type of hair or DNA. A footprint, that's even challenged in the scientific community.
That's so true too. In the
government,
I
want to bring up real quick. Did you ever hear Stan Gordon? Not Stan Lee. Stan Gordon. He's a Bigfoot researcher from Pennsylvania here. Kevin, have you ever heard of him?
I know that he's more in like the American UFO cryptid side of things, but not necessarily.
Yeah, he's really interesting. He's had like a UFO hotline since like 1969, and like people from like Western Pennsylvania here have been calling in their encounters of Bigfoot over the years. And you said like you saw, or someone saw Bigfoot step off the craft with like a briefcase. Well, like people would see similar things. That's why I wanted to bring this up. Like people would see Bigfoot coming off a UFO with an orb, and like there's been always like a lot of sightings with like Bigfoot with like UFOs. So like. What do you think the connection is? Do you think they might be connected in some way, like interdimensionally or something like that?
I think what I always tend to say is causation doesn't mean correlation. Just because there is a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot or a UFO doesn't mean that they're related. But like the only time that I think someone could say that, yes, they are related is if you are that person who's actually seeing a Bigfoot walk off of a UFO or UAP, and like then you could say, yeah, okay, those are related. I think I would caution people to say, unless you've had that experience, potentially caution the correlation between the two. I just don't know yet. And at the same time, one of the experiences I've had with the orb situation is, again, I don't know if they're related, but I know that there are two instances, one specifically in New Mexico where we were in Los Alamos, and we were with a group of five. It was five of us walking down a path. We split up, so it was two and then three. We actually got down, and what we were doing, and this is what kind of my story that I always kind of share, is what we were doing is we were kind of stopping every 30 feet-ish, and it was, in the shadows, because this is past midnight, super great full moon, so quiet you could actually hear pulse beating in your ears just a bit, right? So that's how quiet, deadly quiet this was. There were no bugs, no flies, mosquitoes, nothing. And so we were kind of stopping every so often. This little pebble trickled down from this hill. Now, at this point, you'd think that we would turn on our flashlights. whip out our night vision. Well, we didn't necessarily have any of that gear, just because this was our first time. So didn't have any of that. We were actually told never turn on your light, because if you turn on your light, the entire trip could basically be ruined. We acknowledged it. We said, we're going to keep going. But this, after maybe another 50 feet, 80 feet, this is where we actually heard this very deep, and this is kind of like a buzzword, like guttural growl. Certainly not a bear, certainly not a cat of any kind, not a coyote. This was a long extended, you're about to, and this is what I interpreted from this, was you're about to get yourself into my territory. Get back. That was the immediate sense that I took from that. We all acknowledged it. We talked to each other. We said, well, maybe we need to go back and get the other two. As we radioed in to these other two, and they were somewhere else down another path. Hey, this happened to us. Okay, let's meet up. On our way to go meet up with them, I radioed again and said, hey, are you over here, by the sign? Oh, I think I see you. I remember saying this. And what I saw was this amber orb that was maybe about the size of like a grapefruit, maybe a little bit bigger. And what I had thought is that it was someone turning on their red light of their headlight. No, that's not us. There's no way you could be near us. This is the other person talking on their line. No way you could be near us. Like, we're at least a 10-minute walk from that sign. Like, you got to keep going. And again, I acknowledged it, put a pin in it, because I said, I don't know what I'm seeing or what I saw. But right now we need to meet with these other people, and we need to maybe talk about what our next plan of attack is. And I'll just finish up the story. But as we connected with them, that is where I said, okay, the discussion was, well, let's go back to where we heard the growl. We went back to where we heard the growl, nothing. We kind of kept going down the path. We had actually opened up into a meadow where the moon was just shining on everything. You could see all the foliage of this meadow. And you could kind of you saw this wall of trees on the other side. This is where we decided, okay, we're going to go, let's walk towards the meadow. And then this is when this leader had mentioned to me, okay, let me just stop you all. If something bluff charges us, like a gorilla, bluff charges us out of the woods, just put your head down and sit down. Don't look at it in the eyes. That's when I had to acknowledge that, okay, number one, you're telling me that this truly exists, that I'm about to possibly be charged at from a Sasquatch that exists. Like, legend is going to come running out of that, into those, out of those woods, into my face. Oh, and by the way, don't look at it. Don't look at possibly death charging at you. Copy that. I'm going to try my damnedest, right?
You said not to look. I have to look. Like, I'm just saying to my head,
just even like this, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Peeking through my fingers, possibly. And so we finally got to the tree line. He took out like a wood blocker type of device, claves type thing, like a wood knocker. He hit it really hard. No movement, nothing. We continued to approach. That's when we got a tree break, and you heard all the leaves coming down from like 20 feet up. That's what it seemed. Coming down, branches breaking, leaves crashing, crumbling. And then what was really strange is that actually that disturbed about a 30 to 40 group of mountain cattle that then came rushing out of that woods down into the meadow, and then like just kind of kept going down to that Meadow Valley area. Once that kind of subsided, this is where you heard very auditorily, like very clearly, crunch, 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 like this, again, kind of a buzzword, like lumberous walk, beetle, totally walking down, and just kept going until you couldn't hear it anymore. Whether or not that orb was something to do with the circumstance, I don't know, but I think it's very telling. I mean, I think that there's also many other Bigfoot stories out there where you see orbs, and because there are Bigfoot there. So I would almost say that orbs and Bigfoot are potentially more related than, at least in my viewpoint at this stage of the game, more so than any type of alien or UFO. But we can possibly get into, you know, are they here sent by UFOs or UAP? And I mean, we could also potentially get into the fact that, like, well, if they are genetically modified or if they are from aliens, what's their mission? Well, you know, there are potentially, you know, stories that there are some humans that are also from UFOs and aliens. And it's, I would ask you, Rob, perhaps, like, what do you perhaps see as the correlation between the two? Maybe we can go in that direction.
I like to see all of it. Like I said, I've studied people like Stan Gordon. Well, I've met Stan, you know, at UFO conferences and stuff. And, you know, I've watched the Missing 411. So I've listened to Stan Gordon talk about, you know, UFOs and Bigfoot and orbs and UFOs, just like you were saying, like both, you know. I've heard the Missing 111 where David Paulides kind of, you know, says that, you know, he thinks this is related to, you know, he's basically, in his last documentary, the Missing 411, the UFO phenomena, it was like he didn't want to come out with it until that point. Like, he didn't want to tie himself to the UFO phenomena because he felt like it would give him some kind of less credibility. And he was trying to, I guess, help people, like, you know, because there was, you know, missing people, and he wanted to find out what was going on. But he ties it together there at the end, and he almost alludes to the fact that, like, people are being either taken by Bigfoot or UFOs. So I've seen that. And then, you know, all different kinds of stuff. So what I like to believe is that it's all happening. You know, that
Sure.
It's like UFOs, Bigfoot. You know, I've also heard that, like, Bigfoot is a scout for UFOs. Like, you know, but then what would Dogman be then? You know, like, I mean, I'm skeptical about everything, but I'm open minded to everything too, if that makes any sense. So I don't really have
skeptic.
I don't you know, I don't know.
It's, yeah. And again, I think that even like a Dogman, there's perhaps more connectedness to a Bigfoot or misidentification. But I know I've talked to a few where, no, this had a snout, it had pointy ears. This was more of a wolf man or dog than it was more of a flat nosed, you know, apex type cranium. It's interesting where, as far as the UFO stuff goes, I'm open to it. Candidly, I would be a little perhaps nervous if they were scouting things, because I think at the same time, if they were scouting things, perhaps there would be more Bigfoot sightings. I think that would be an interesting theory, because there are plenty of Bigfoot maps out there. The BFRO has them. There's a Bigfoot mapping project that has them. Is there any type of correlation to the Bigfoot sightings and actually UFO sightings? That I haven't looked into.
I got one for you, Kevin. What do you think about the fact that, like, some people say that, I mean, this is going far out there, so this is deep into conspiracy realm, but, like, you know, that's what I love to talk about. But no. So some people think that, like, you know, an ancient alien race came and genetically modified humans, and they think that the humans that were genetically modified came from Bigfoot. That, like, we were once Bigfoot. And you know, people who study, like, psychic abilities say that we've lost, like, our psychic abilities, like our ability to do telepathy and stuff like that. And people speculate that Bigfoot still has those abilities. You know, they have the ability to cloak themselves, have the ability to be telepathic. And people think, you know, that we maybe lost those abilities and that we're tied to them somehow, that they're like our, you know, like our cousins or something.
I think it's the interpretation of the culture in which we live in currently. And what I mean by that is, when you dig back into, even, you know, if you're looking at the Bible, let's say there's Nephilim. Well, Nephilim were actually the creation between angels and human, and then you get these giants. So that's kind of if you're thinking that angels could potentially be aliens because they live in the sky and they fly and things like that, sure, there's a potential. I think that the science, I mean, I don't want to say the scientific community has the answers, right? I don't think that they do. And I'm going to say they, because I'm not a scientist, but it's just a case of there's been some type of tracking of Gigantopithecus, who is a massive, kind of looked like a orangutan looking creature out of Eastern Asia that kind of traversed across the ice age into, could have potentially come from Asia into Alaska. And then with evolution, if anyone digs that, which is possible, right? But like, then it became more of a Sasquatch looking character. And then as it went from the Pacific Northwest into all the way throughout the US and into now Florida, they're shorter, they're more hostile, all kind of giving it up to the fact that like it just really depends on what our society is deeming an alien versus like what is that now versus what that could have been when like the Bible was being written, if that makes sense, if that aligns with what you're asking for.
Yeah, you give a good point, because we don't even know what aliens are, right? I mean, they could be extraterrestrial, they could be interdimensional, same with Bigfoot. They could be, interdimensional, they could be creatures like an unclassified species, or they could be an unclassified species that has the ability to traverse dimensions. And I don't know.
If that's
I like
the
to
case,
look at it from a woo aspect. I mean, what do you think, Billy? So
yeah.
I'm a UFO person, so I'm really trying to understand, but I know they all like merge and collide at some certain point, but it's so fascinating to me that the beings are out there, and I'm not sure what to make of it yet. I want to experience one. I really do. And for people who are out there that want to experience it, I guess, is there like some techniques that you use, or is there anything that you would say, like, you suggest to do other than take Rob out and dress him like a taco?
Yeah, I mean, I think the taco bit, I think that would
I
work.
don't know,
Or just wear tacos. I mean, maybe that would be it. Before I answer that question, Coley, like, I want to say that as far as the connection or the message that either aliens or Bigfoot, whether it's interdimensional, different beings coming from a different universe, time travel, whatever it might be, like, what's the message? What are they trying to communicate? And I think that to me is very unique. You can talk about this, and let's say that they do correlate, right? Like, it's kind of, not to be a Debbie Downer about, like, but the so what is, to me, is like what stands out. Like, what are they trying to then say about the way we're living, the earth, if this is truly where we're supposed to be, or like, how are we treating our homes? I think that to me is more of a message that we're given, especially if there's any type of war. You see a lot of UFOs around war, around any bomb testing. The same thing with logging. You'll definitely see Sasquatch during logging. This is how John Green, way back when in like the 50s, realized that there was a big print in the mud area. And this is kind of how I'd say, like, what is it that they're trying to tell us? As far as trying to experience one in order to understand some of that message, you don't have to do a whole lot. On one hand, I think you could just, depending upon if you're in a rural enough area, or you live in the more of a forested area, or there's good water resources, there's food resources, there's shelter. You could certainly just you could be living next to one you probably don't even know, or maybe you do. At the same time, I think that a lot of the, what you might see on certain Sasquatch programs of going out there and banging on a tree or howling, or whistling or wood knocking, that some might say draws them in, or you could be potentially fooling one. There's also very strong cases where don't ever whistle. in the woods, because in certain Native or Indian cultures, they would say that is the call that you will absolutely be investigated yourself by a Sasquatch. Otherwise, the number one thing, go camping, do what you would do typically, set up a fire, play some music, talk, and that'll actually potentially draw them in more, just because they're curious and they want to know what you're doing, and they perhaps want to know what you're doing, if not in their territory, at least in their area, right? That's what I would say.
So what's your take on, I know you talked before, kind of the middleman, and I guess like Iowa girls, the tall ones. Do you think that's kind of what's going on, or?
What's that? One more time?
I guess when you were talking before, when you're saying, oh, like evolution, like this is like, is this our middle, or I just said it before. Now I just messed it all up. No, like, is this the middleman? Is this the missing link? I mean, is this tied into it at all?
It depends what your definition of evolution would be. And you could even take this from aliens. If you are thinking that we are evolving from aliens, then we would have somehow were related to Sasquatch. If they're also dropping off a Sasquatch. I would also say that the fact that we walk on two legs, we have, 20 digits, that's also indicative of more of a, human or primate characteristics. I think it's possible that there's some relation there. I mean, there's even relations to us in, apes. So why not this other ape who in fact lives in North America, who just happens to be larger and more sophisticated than the ones that you go and visit in the zoo, right? So I think that to me is, we're not far off from that tree. There have been, I think there was one of the questions was, have we ever done any DNA testing? There has been, but nothing conclusive, nothing that I think the greater scientific populace would accept. And what's really challenging is you don't actually have anything to compare it to. So even if you did have DNA, it would possibly come up as inconclusive, because what are you going to compare it to? There's no other database of a Sasquatch DNA that I'm aware of that they can compare it to. So it's a bit of a challenge to say, are they the missing link, or is some type of humanistic connection? But I will say this, if there has to be something there, and I would even say potentially more evolved than humans, because they're able to elude us at any step of the way, and they are the world champions. You see it on t-shirts everywhere. World hide and go seek champions. They are. Good luck. There are people who spend their entire life by happenstance catching a glimpse of one and dedicating their entire life trying to go out and find one, and good luck. Especially in a neighborhood.
Yeah, that's kind of what Daryl was saying too. He's like, they can evade you, if they don't want to come in contact. And a lot of humans, I can see maybe why they don't, especially at this moment in time sometimes,
Yeah. If you were to put yourself in their feet, to be silly about it, but their shoes, right? Mm-hmm. Would you want to be around us?
No.
You might stink because of all the cologne and perfume and deodorant that we wear, and the burgers or whatever that is that we eat. It might look good and be tasty or all that, but this is the romantic side that I would have to say is about this topic, is that these beings and creatures, perhaps even like aliens, have it pretty well made. They can be a part of our society when they wish, and or visit and leave and never really be seen again. And I think that is a very interesting side of all of our relationships, is we're kind of stuck where we are. We can't really ever escape, especially as social networks and AI really start to trap us in. I am in love with the fact that these beings are just living their life, perhaps staring at flowers, doing what they want to do, and being in nature. Like, bless them.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to feel like what it's like being tracked. I mean, we're going through this right now, especially with AI and all this other stuff. And I don't blame them after really thinking about it like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And someone's asked a question of, does whistling really? Yeah, whistling is a surefire bet. It's actually frowned upon if you're on any type of reservation to whistle in the woods. That's a no-no. So yes, that is a no-no to answer that question.
So they don't like you whistling. They don't like the noise, or
you're going to attract them perhaps to you, and in certain cultures that is a no-no, because some think that if you see one, you're looking death in the face, and like if you see one, you're going to die. There could be a time frame within that. But yeah, that's if you see one, you'll die type of thought process.
That's why you don't look. Don't look.
Don't look. Yes. Don't make a sound. There's a movie somewhere there.
Rob, don't make a crunching sound with a taco. We're going to take you out there. I think that'd be great bait. So I guess gifting, what do you think about gifting and all those things? Like, would you notice that they maybe like, Daryl had talked to us a little bit about that, like, and what he found that they may like, and, different things like that, and kind of just cultivating a relationship with them.
I think it's again, it goes back to communication. What are you wanting to communicate with them? If you're going to give them, a shite sandwich and see if they eat it, that might not be too friendly. If you're also going to perhaps give them some blueberry pancakes or a banana or an apple or something, more natural, that might be more appreciative. There's definitely been stories, or, there's a group down south that was actually feeding them pancakes, and they've got footage of the Sasquatch coming in and actually eating some pancakes, and I'll have to say footage of Sasquatch coming in and eating some pancakes. But on the flip side, there have been certain instances where Sasquatch will actually wrap twigs around moss and make it into some type of a figure or some type of like a pendant type object, and that is left, or a rock even that might not have been there the night prior. Okay. I think gifting is appreciated, and it's actually probably one of the most interesting motions that could exist between a Sasquatch and like the human race is gifting, but it's the intention. And if your intention is to gift, to catch one on camera, I think you'll be sniffed out pretty quickly.
They don't like their picture taken. With anything like paranormal, it's so hard to grab a picture of them. Yeah. ET, they shut down your cameras, your batteries.
Has there been gifting? And this is maybe where I need to. Has there been a lot of gifting with aliens and like human? Is that a thing?
Mm-mm. No, but it is. See, I grew up in the paranormal world. This is kind of closer to the Sasquatch and things like that. But there was gifting, that type of gifting. But I've always heard with Sasquatch, it's a little bit different. I don't know if it's building trust or kind of building relationship. I don't know how that works, but I find it really fascinating.
Yeah, there has been healing. There's been healing with ETs. Like Dennett wrote a book about like ETs that heal, and I think there has been some kind of like transactional, not necessarily gifting, but like if you like look at the encounters, like Jim Sparks, by the way, he was able to like supposedly communicate with the Greys, and like it's interesting for sure. But I know what you mean, not gifting though. Yeah, like
is that like a wrong way to put it?
Transactional there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
no. I think the gift is Bigfoot. Yeah, sorry, Kevin,
okay.
Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
No, you're right on, Rob. I wanted to understand your point. Sorry, I chomped on your words of your thoughts of like being respectful. I thought that was a good point that you were about to make, or the intention.
Yeah. I think like with Bigfoot, the gifting seems like more like it's it's something that people have been able to do and they've been able to document, at least they say they do, but yeah, I don't know. I've never had a Bigfoot experience myself, so I'm trying to, try to figure it all out, But like the ETs, like they don't seem to have and what I'm trying to say is I think Bigfoot might have emotions, maybe. But maybe and I also ask you this, Kevin, like, do you think there are some good Bigfoots and some bad Bigfoots? And I know that sounds pretty basic to say, but like, do you think that might be a possibility?
Yeah, I think it's in that essence. I think Sasquatch are more, they're just as disgruntled as we are. If we wake up and, there's a porcupine under our butt, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be mad that day, right? Type of a situation. I think it also depends on the circumstance. I mean, there's stories out there as well where a hunter has shot a baby Sasquatch, baby Bigfoot, that they saw this thing and they saw its mother looking at, saw the mother witness this. Like, you got to know that could have even been a deer, right? And like, if deers acknowledged the fact that one of mine that I was just running with in the woods, like they're not moving anymore and there's a loud bang and I got to get the hell out of here, otherwise I might be next. But that has that feeling of like the flight feeling at least has to be there. And now you're leaving something that I think has actually emotional intelligence to experience something like that. So like, yeah, I think that there's some out there that are very upset. And like I said, there was an incident in which there was a series, and this is again Doug Hychek, so he kind of runs the Hanging Around Publishing, which is where my book is from. But he did a Monster Quest. He was the producer of Monster Quest, which I'm sure all of you are aware of. And there is a story of Snellgrove Lake where there's been incidents where there have been rock throwing specifically at this one cabin in Snellgrove Lake, and whether or not you consider a rock being thrown aggressive, I technically would. That doesn't signal to me, come give me a hug. So that's where I would say there's certainly ones that are more pissed off. I think as I'm thinking it through like an alien lens, I would be way more concerned about the pissed off alien than I would be about a pissed off Sasquatch.
I just feel like a Sasquatch could throw a boulder back at you. That's
pissed off alien could like probe you. Pick you up, you're stuck, probe you.
You're gone. Yeah.
Kind of worse.
I guess they could probably make you disappear. So yeah, that's a good point. Definitely. It's so fascinating. So have you experienced any other like cryptids or any other paranormal or?
Yeah. From a Sasquatch lens, I mean, we picked up what I would consider a juvenile or baby Sasquatch blowing raspberries in a tree. The other major, like other paranormal side of things is we were up in, when I was doing more of the paranormal ghost side of things. Now this is again more my explorative side of myself that I'm like, you know what, I don't know what I'm messing with, so I don't do that anymore. But we were up in Duluth and we were doing a psych ward investigation in Duluth, Minnesota, and if I didn't feel like I was about to step on someone in the hallway, which I verbally had said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you," and then this black mass disappeared. So there is that, but outside of that, or potentially, we did have a bunch of flying craft that we acknowledged, even as children, kind of growing up in Wisconsin. Certain things fly around in like the Wisconsin summertime, nighttime sky, right? And can't explain it. I had relatives that said that they saw things come down, a light shined, scanned, flipped up, and like took off. I don't know if that was the technology that we had back in the early, 90s, 94 type of technology. But then in Mount Hood, there was certainly times where, again, we're out bigfooting, right? Looking for Bigfoot. And everyone is acknowledging that there's this craft that just keeps zipping by close enough to not be a satellite, but far enough away to not be a plane type of situation. And that was considered a mass sighting. There was like 15 or so folks that were looking at this thing, and we were all just kind of in awe of the speed and the fluidity of this thing just kind of gliding through the air. That was intense, but also like, well, that's not what I'm here looking for. So keep my head down, like keep trucking.
What do you think? See, I toss and turn about it because ET I was used to, paranormal before that I was used to, and I said I don't know if I'm ready to see Bigfoot now on top of all this. Now I would, but going back I was like, man, and so I guess it's perception wise, like I thought that Bigfoot seems far more scary than ET did, but like I said, Bigfoot seems like it's here, like right here in the here and now, as where ET, it's like more like going inside yourself, or you're in their place, their time. It's not here in like the here and now.
Well, what's interesting about that, now if you want to talk about correlation, I think that both have been here much longer than humans have.
Definitely.
As far as, and maybe we can talk about that, but I wanted to touch on the good and getting back to more of like the angry Sasquatch. So the actual shirt that I'm wearing, because I thought it was appropriate for tonight, was is the picture from Dyatlov Pass, which in late January of 1959, there were 9 super experienced hikers led by Igor Dyatlov, who actually went missing in the snowy wilderness of the northern Urals, which is like the Soviet Union area. So searchers later actually found these 9 people's tent mysteriously cut open from the inside. So that means that they were trying to escape from something that was freaking them out. And when they were found, some had minimal clothing on, some had their noses removed, their tongues removed, teeth removed, potentially eyes. So the cause of death is super mysterious. And some actually had some, cold exposure, and others had unusual injuries like fractured skulls or broken ribs. But this photo is actually one from, let me see if I can remember his name, Krivonashenko's, which is one of the hikers. This was frame 17. This was the last picture that he took. And after that, that was it. And so this picture became pretty infamous for a potentially very mad Sasquatch. I think there's a couple of documentaries on this, but what's interesting is, again, potentially correlation is, was this a Sasquatch or more of an working with aliens to then perform some of these surgeries or removal of these parts of these hikers?
Yeah, I've even heard some people say that that the Dyatlov Pass could have been a a rogue military group, something like that.
And that was,
or it could have been Bigfoot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that this frame exists, that doesn't say angry military or Russians thinking that they were doing a military exercise and then thought that this group, but then why kill them? There's way too much mystery around it. So I think it's interesting more so from again, correlation between alien and Bigfoot, because that is the only two answers that actually make sense within this particular Dyatlov Pass incident, where people were fully murdered and it's been documented.
Yeah, I agree. I know Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, has covered that, and I watched her show on it, like, and I've actually talked to her about it on, before. Like, it seems like, so you definitely think it was a creature then, for sure? Like, it was like a, or some kind of, like, it wasn't just a wolf, is what you're saying. Like, it wasn't like, yeah. That's
I do. Because
I
it wasn't, I think something scared them out of their tent. The fact that the tents were blown like kind of open, that they ran out. Again, this was in freezing temperatures. There's also theories out there that this could have been like an avalanche and somehow ripped certain parts of their face off. Which actually, like, the documentary did a pretty damn good job. I mean, again, if you happen to look at it, but it was very good at describing the location, which you can't have an avalanche on a hill. That doesn't happen. Which is kind of where this was. I think it was more Sasquatch related, and a very pissed off, perhaps, like, Yeti, because that would be in that part of that region. Which Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Momo, Wood Booger, what have you. I mean, they're all this. I would imagine that they're.
Is that what there people are talking about? Woodburger? Is that's a Sasquatch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Skunk ape, same thing in the Everglades. So now that again, some are more hostile than others. Some have different colors. Some are taller. Some are smaller.
Well, I was going to say, Kevin, what do you think about the fact that maybe it could have been Dogman, or is it? I know we can't ever say what it was, right? I mean, nobody will ever know, right? But I mean, like, do you think it could have been that too? Like, you keep that in, like, the.
I would say I would rather have it. My understanding of Dogman is that Dogman is a hell of a lot more hostile and more wolf man. That's going to be more likely to kind of, again, kill your chickens and perhaps do something like that, be more aggressive. Again, the romantic side of me wishes that the Sasquatch is sitting there, eating leaves and daisies and, like, maybe occasionally like a frog or two. But, like, I have to acknowledge that there's to have a creature that big out in the wilderness, there has to be a sustainable food source, one that can actually fulfill the appetite of something that is potentially 8 feet tall or as big as perhaps like a Dogman could get.
Or an Iowa woman.
Yeah.
Or an Iowa woman, which is the worst of them all, I hear.
Sorry.
She's never going to let me live that down, guys. For the people that don't know, I'll just tell the backstory. So, like, when I first met Coley, like, I'm from Pittsburgh and I'm from the East Coast, and I'm not a very tall guy. I'm like maybe 5'7", and, like, I saw pictures of her, and I said, you're from Iowa. I thought you must be tall, like maybe 5'10", 5'11". I honestly thought, and that wasn't the case, because I thought a lot of girls from Iowa were taller for some reason. I don't know. So that's the joke.
Yeah, no, it is so funny. I was like, I'm like 5'4", Rob. I'm not that tall. And he's like, oh, well, I thought all Midwest. Yeah, I was like, no, we're, the corn fed, bred on the farm. I didn't get that height, so I don't know. Yeah. So that's so funny, though. Oh, man. Poor Rob. But yeah, it's just, I guess it's so fascinating to think, that's pretty intimidating. To go out there and, try and search for something that big. Is that, I guess, what would you usually say their size-wise is?
I mean, I think a full male, from what we hear, is from anywhere between like 7, 8 to 10 feet tall. And then a tall female is probably on the higher side of 7 feet tall, which is where the standard Bigfoot film footage that you might be aware of is the Patterson-Gimlin footage of, the 68, where it was like 67. Yeah. My Bigfoot nerds are gonna be mad at me. But anyway, the standard footage, what you see is an actual female, and after Bill Munns did a whole bunch of data analytics on that film footage, actually comparing the right lens to the camera that was used with the camera, they basically said that the Patty, which was the Sasquatch in the film, was actually like over 7 feet tall, like 7'2", 7'4", something like that. Oh, wow. It just kind of gives put it this way, it blows all idea that this is just a person walking in a suit out of the water, because of the actual mathematics and the data that Bill Munns had put together that says there's no way that this creature is human proportioned. And even to answer this question here, happy to answer this one, where the differences between females and males' behaviors, I think that there's theories out there that males are always on the prowl looking for that family unit, and that they're going to be a lot more territorial, letting you know their presence. Whereas a female could probably be more walking by if she is on the stage of her life where she's finding a male. Those are the theories. And the reason why I say that those are the theories is because we haven't tracked one. We haven't followed what they're doing. I think that this is a lot of interpretation of potential sightings, of seeing the same one, that they could be in that same area for a certain period of time and then leave, that they could be migratory to some degree, in certain areas, less than others, more than others. I don't think we know yet. There's not enough conclusive evidence to say whether or not why they move around, why they do, but I think it's mostly due to trying to find a mate. So in that, there's going to be certainly different behaviors between a male or female one.
So I guess in saying that, do you think they're somebody asked before, do you think these are interdimensional beings? Do you think that
yeah, I mean, I am very interested in that side of it, just because I think interdimensional also could possibly mean some type of, for whatever reason, I always think of interdimensional as also being a bit more of like this psychic ability, and that there's this is kind of goes into like the woo camp of Sasquatch, where it's possible. Part of me thinks, why would you want to come here? Is this the best place that you can go to when you're interdimension happening is Earth? And there's sometimes where it's that they need a certain flower, or that they need some type of resource to take back, or that they're trying to escape something eating them. Okay, well, why the dense regions of the forest? And granted, there's a lot of energy that happens in the forest.
I have an idea on that. I was thinking that, maybe Earth's just one of the most interesting places in the multiverse, universe, and galaxy. Maybe the ETs come here, the Bigfoots, the Dogmen come from other dimensions because this is where it's at. They like to see what the crazy humans are doing. And then on top of that, the stories of the Anunnaki coming for gold, and other beings coming for, our minerals, you know what I mean? And we're like a nutrient mineral dense planet. We have resources, you know what I mean? So that could make some sense. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
I'm just
Well, to your point, Rob, there's got to be some resource or reason that they're here, other than just trying to get away from something that might be eating them in on another realm, right? There's got to be some reason why they come here, and or some reason why then they vanish. So, and there are certainly reports again of someone seeing a Sasquatch as plain as day, step through a portal, and then disappear. And I don't know what to say to that. If that is the case, and if that is someone's experience, and if that was ever caught on film, now with AI, I'm sure it's everywhere. But like if that was ever caught on film or reported from multiple witnesses, then I think that there's something to then explore more so to me about the portal than there is about the Sasquatch going into the portal. Forget the Sasquatch. Let's talk about the portal.
Yeah.
What is the door that this thing is going through? What's on the other side? And like, are we able to follow it if that would ever happen? Like that to me is the more exciting bit.
Wow.
That would be amazing.
Fascinating. Yeah.
But
and I wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you about Billy and the Bigfoot, or Billy Finds Bigfoot. That it's like a children's book, but it could be for adults too. It seems like tell us a little bit about the book and like what were your intentions behind it.
I appreciate that. So the book, the initial intention was to share some life messages or stories or lessons that I had learned that I think is very hard for children to pick up on, such as one lesson being really appreciate what you have in front of you. I think as humans, we are terrible at that, whether it's relationships, whether it's, something that you value. It's really just appreciating the fact that something, or frankly, someone is in your life and to not take it for granted. Just like all beings that come into your life, whether alien or Sasquatch, they're there for a reason. You're experiencing them for a reason and to learn from it. That was to me the kind of the building point of, oh, what if there's this boy named Billy just because it seemed good with Bigfoot. And he's in search of this rare white fox. But he finds out that as he's going to look for this rare white fox in the forest down the river by his house, that he sees a Bigfoot drinking water, and he approaches a Bigfoot and starts talking to him as if it was just another explorer who was super excited to be, in the woods, and also was trying to discover animals and had fascination with rocks and leaves and was actually drawing them out, not just taking pictures of them on their phone, right? Really studying nature. And so that is kind of where Sasquatch more so has a more human side to him, comes to life and says, well, why don't you take a look on this big boulder over here? There's lots of animals in the forest, and like you can see more than you perhaps could have where you were looking. And so ultimately he goes back home. Boy, had a great day, but you know what? I didn't catch the rare white fox. This is where his parents then end up telling him a bedtime story of the most unknown, unseen creature in the woods, Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And Billy thinks it's just the greatest story ever because he realizes that he has actually seen the rarest of all beings or animals in the forest. And now he has much more appreciation for what he does see and what he does acknowledge or, observes moving forward.
So was that you as a child?
Hell no.
No.
No, but I would have wanted it to be. I wish I was that type of kid to draw things and, which I did, but I don't think anyone is. I don't think anyone is kind of like Billy, perhaps to some degree, but it's perhaps showing us that we should be more like Billy and just be more appreciative and respectful of our planet, and to not be scared. Don't be scared. I mean, as much as I am candidly terrified of aliens, maybe don't be, because Billy wasn't, right? Billy approached Sasquatch right away. But so it's trying to take some of those lessons and share them out. And it's made in a way so that children can become more aware of their world and that it's not just a box or a phone, right, these days. And so that's kind of where I was trying to lead those.
Get out in nature, get those kids out there. I guess is your mission in doing this and being a father and having children yourself, like, do you see going out with your kids and teaching them like a level of acceptance? Or, I mean, you tie a really unique part of this in there. So I think that's like really important.
I mean, this was before I ever thought that I was going to be having children. But I think it was a case where when I am out there with them, that being outside is super important. And it's so important to be on the grass without shoes and to feel the wind blowing in your hair or lack thereof. I mean, it's very, and I kind of go back to, again, like, yeah, as much as I like dog on the fact that we live on Earth, it is our home. And, you know, like, try to appreciate it. At this moment in time, I will accept it. Like, yeah, at this moment in time, we only have one home, right? And when we're talking about others and other humans having experiences and trying to make it better and better for generations to come, it's all of that. It all kind of wraps up into that. And so I definitely want to make sure that that message is there for my kids, for anyone else who has younger people in their life. That's kind of who I was wanting the audience to be. And even if you don't, still a good read. I mean, yeah, it's a children's book, but pay it forward. It was out there to make people think a little bit.
Were you able to, like, I guess, keep it lighthearted for kids and then, like, still tell the lore of the original lore of Bigfoot, I guess, or whatever lore goes along with Bigfoot?
As much as Sasquatch having really big feet, really big hands, creature of little words. Yeah. I didn't get too into any scientific, or data-driven content. I am working on a young adults book, which will have more of that, and even more of a message where I think is where I'm coming from, which in fact is like, what is the message? What is a sighting supposed to mean? What is gifting supposed to mean? Like, what is that portal supposed to mean? That to me is where I'm wanting to go with this next book. But it's lighthearted enough to answer your question, Rob, for sure.
When was your first awesome Bigfoot experience? Like, how many have you encountered?
Is well, and I want to answer someone's question to your question there too. Coley was like eye shine. Like, I think I've probably seen eye shine on half, if not 75% of the trips that I've been on. My eye shine that I've seen has always been like a reddish, ambery kind of eye shine. There are others out there who have seen more of like a green. A blue I've not heard of or seen, but it doesn't mean it's not out there. So never seen one. So putting that out there, never had a Class A sighting. So I've never seen one. But Class B, hearing one, hearing footsteps, hearing again what I'm calling raspberries 30 feet up, like a ponderosa pine type of tree, out near Mount Hood, and not being able to put any type of eyes on this thing because it's just so far up in the tree, and just never could lay eyes on it. But those have been the more recent ones, or like the more important ones to me in my mind. I've also had rocks thrown at me where it was super high in the treetops. We've had rock clacking or wood clacking together that we couldn't explain. So there's definitely something to be said about something going on in the woods, which is kind of where my heart is drawn to is this mystery there.
Wow. So do you think it's like a warning, like a shot's fired, like, hey, back up? Or
the growling was a backup. The tree getting knocked down was like, this is the last straw. Otherwise, like, it could be you. But the fact that it walked away, didn't run away, walked away, was like, it almost again had the awareness that it could hurt us, but didn't want to, right? Because if it hurts one of us, the theory goes, the reason why they typically don't attack is because it's been witnessed perhaps by them that if they attack one human, you're going to have 10. And if you attack those 10, you're going to now have 50. It's just this kind of algorithm that they've figured out of like, you can't touch like the hairless beings because more will follow. But not so concerned about that. I mean, I will put it this way, just like the ghost side of things, that's kind of where, to me, I didn't know what I was messing with. And there are certain times where I have a gut check, especially now with a family, where it does give me great pause to go out there in the forest and acknowledge the fact that, like, I got to come home. I got to be not just like physically safe, but I have to be mentally safe. And if anything, I probably am more concerned about my mental capacity to acknowledge that these exist, and that, like, why aren't we either protecting them, or why isn't society talking about them more? I would liken that type of concern to those who would probably have more of that alien experience, where I feel for those who have had that experience. I don't even know what to tell you other than, like, are you okay? Because that's got to be a bit rough.
How do you even digest that?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, that really is. So when you're, I guess, there's a really good question I saw before too. Real quick, somebody asked, is any Bigfoot sightings in Arkansas that you know of? Okay.
Yes. Not that I'm aware of, but there literally have been sightings in every state. I mean, go to the bfro.net. You can certainly find many maps. Again, the the Bigfoot mapping project is another one. I'm working with a colleague on potentially doing our own mapping project, one that is more specific and more correlates again to the food resource, the water source, shelters, things like that. But I'm literally every state has had an experience or has had these, besides Hawaii, and I want to say Rhode Island is the other one. But even I think Finding Bigfoot might have even had some of them that were in Rhode Island. But Hawaii is like the only state that has not had a Bigfoot, documented experience.
I just read that too. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
There's different things there.
They don't like volcanoes. Is it just, they don't like the temperature? What do you think it's all about?
I think that's too removed from when the land masses were together. Those just happen to be, and I can't tell you, Coley, when Hawaii was a thing, but like, if they're a part of the landmass or not. But there are other smaller beings in Hawaii, is from some of the research that I have seen. More hobbity type creatures, just like some of the hobbit type creatures that are like in Ireland, or fairy hobbit type creatures.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So do you think that keeps them out, or do you think that they don't like them? Like, they're afraid they're going to step on them? What do you think?
I don't, that side of things. Like, I don't know enough about them to say whether or not, like, why they are what they are and what they do. But I would say that from, like, the reason why Sasquatch aren't there is, whether it's, again, A, part of the landmass, or B, they're not going to. I do believe that Sasquatch, and there are reports that Sasquatch do swim. I don't think that they're going to swim across, the ocean to get to another landmass. I think that they have the materials and resources that they need where they are.
So that kind of backs up what Daryl was telling us, Daryl Linton, the Tennessee Bigfoot guy, is that he, some of this is like, he thinks that they're not necessarily traveling interdimensionally, because the waterway wouldn't be a huge stretch for them. But it kind of makes sense of what you're saying.
Well, But I guess that's where, I don't know enough per se about the portal or how they would, frankly, why wouldn't they go to Hawaii? I hear it's gorgeous. Like, why, why?
Weather's great. Yeah.
Right. So, they happen to be in the certain areas, again, perhaps even Arkansas, where they're getting the resources that they need. And whether or not they're staying here or whether or not they're dipping back through the portal. But yeah, there's not been any type of a report of anything over, I think, like 4 feet tall of an unknown type of bipedal creature there.
Wow. Yeah, it really is. It's really fascinating and interesting. How many, I guess before I go into my questioning here, I was going to ask too we had somebody in the chat and they want to know how they acquire Sasquatch technology. I see
does that mean the technology that a Sasquatch has, or well, I can answer both. If it's Sasquatch technology of like trying to find one or see one, audio recording, get yourself some, dual microphone, do some XY type of formatting with your microphones to get some audio recording. Definitely some type of night vision. And candidly, you could do the wood knocks thing. You could also simply just whistle. To experience one, I would say like your night vision is possibly going to be your best bet if you're going at night. Now, I do not think, especially as the 67 Roger Patterson, Bob Gimlin footage would show, is that you don't need to go hiking in the woods at night. You don't need to necessarily like break your neck off a cliff to go hiking at night. You can actually have a day sighting. Candidly, that's preferable, right? You want to see this thing with your eyes. And so at the end of the day, I would say that those two would kind of be your best bet. Otherwise, get yourself some good food, something that grills well, perhaps some meat, play some music, and they'll come to you. That's what I would say. As far as a Sasquatch technology, I mean, the whole cloaking bit, which I think is a possibility, that to me is, I mean, there's enough camo gear out there, military gear, I think that's trying to get that way. That's about all I would know as far as that. Other than that, you're talking, you need some machinery to provide some of the strength that they have showed in many different reports, breaking trees, putting trees upside down into the ground. So it kind of depends on what type of technology this person's talking about or asking for, but that's kind of what I would say about that.
Yeah, they had a follow-up question too. Let me pull this up here real quick. Have you, sorry, I guess this question is for you. Have you used Ouija boards or sightings or paranormal activities?
We tried. We did try, interesting question, because we did try in the forest where we even had tarot cards, we had a Ouija board. We didn't necessarily, other than it might have moved letters like one time when we went to come back and check on it, but like nothing came of that. It went from T to P. I don't know what that's supposed to tell me. But nothing really came of that. And because there's such more spiritual pull or energy, I think, from those types of, what would you call them? I don't even want to call them like board games, Coley, because I almost call them like request tools, because you're literally trying to request something from a spirit to interact with you.
Right.
So it's not just a game, right? And then as far as some of the tarot card stuff that we laid out, what we should have probably done was video camera these cards and see if it was the wind just flipping them around. They did kind of change, but like it wasn't, again, to decipher any type of change, as a message, it's almost near impossible.
Oh gosh, I've had a couple, and you have to really trust the person you're doing it with, and kind of like, you know, that background. But yeah, my grandma used to have one of those Ouija boards that were all wooden and had the glass, and like, yeah, she said that she got rid of it. She's like, the table meditated. She's like, I'm not, you know. I always had that like fascination.
Wood? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wood like, material trapping. Yeah, I'll go there. Yeah, so,
right.
Did you ever experience anything then with that?
Well, my grandmother swears by it, and I believe her. Like she's so much like me, but she said the table levitated, and that's when she took the glass out of the pendulum and like out of the pantry, excuse me, and the whole thing. But we were so fascinated as by kids. But I remember that we were once in her house, and all of a sudden we heard a bang, and all of her kitchen cabinets opened. So you can go with it anywhere you want, but yeah, that is definitely, and I've heard of them too, but I've been in the paranormal places and they said no Ouija boards, no bringing the Ouija boards. And I made one out of a mirror and glass. So I was like, probably should.
Yeah. I mean, out in the forest, I think you're probably okay. However, I would say this, you know, depending upon where you are in the forest, there are certainly groups out there who are practicing whatever they practice, and just be mindful of that. I think would be I would be more so concerned about others in the forest. For example, I didn't know that they existed, but apparently as I'm out there camping in Mount Hood, my buddy goes, "You ever hear of the cat people?" I'm like, "Oh God, the what?" And so cat people. I don't quite know what that is. Maybe someone.
They're Lyrans. In like Alien Lore, they would be Lyrans. You know?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Rob.
Because like the cat lady or something. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, cat people. You know, in the hills, mountains. I'm like, okay, well, no, thank you. But then certain groups out there who are doing other things, and like, I don't know. Anytime I would say it this way, like, and because I'm aware of that side of things, like anytime you're messing with energy, just make sure it's love and light and all good things, because the last thing you would want is to, you know, potentially get a really pissed off Sasquatch who's angry and more perhaps demonic than any other Sasquatch you would want to encounter in the woods. Like, you don't want that.
Yeah, imagine having to tell that story to somebody.
I'm sure it's out there.
Right? Oh man. I mean, so when you were talking before about the glowing eyes, does that mean, you didn't say glowing, you used a more professional term for it, but I'm envisioning like, oh yeah. So is that like glowing eyes?
It's a reflective trait that I think that their eyes have, that where you can see something. I mean, there has to be some type of illumination to me, I think, to get that, whether it's a video camera, a campfire, like there has to be something to make it reflect. So I have seen more of the red amber side of things, but I couldn't tell you why that is. And I, you know, the fact when we're talking about being related to humans, like we have that to some degree, depending upon the light source that it is, right? Like if you take, you know, back in the 90s, everyone's eyes were red. So, you know,
right.
Like maybe that has something to do with it, but like, yeah, it's interesting, but you know, some have seen green. I don't know if that means a different species. I don't know if that means different, I don't know, hormones or energy is coming off the eye to create a different color. But I would be more concerned if those eyes actually made a light.
Oh, okay.
That to me would be more concerning, other than just some type of reflection.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, that the glowing eyes, I that might spook me a bit. That might spook me.
Yeah. And that's kind of, I mean, I don't know, depending. There's also perhaps some theories out there where the eyes are the orbs, and the orbs the eyes, and that's what's causing, you know, you to think that you're seeing an orb, but really it's like the creature's eyes. And so It's all possible, but these were really distinct. Like, and the ones that I saw was kind of like if your fingertip had a light on it, a red light. You know how you put a flashlight to your fingertip, and it's kind of like that white reddish. And this was just kind of going kind of back and forth behind a tree, and like so much so that you didn't know if your eyes were playing tricks on you or if you're actually seeing it. So as you're trying to blink and like clear your vision, you're seeing like this, you know, these little red dots kind of peek through and like disappear and stop. And it's like, okay.
I still, in my back of my head, I'm thinking about your joke about the 90s. I was thinking, man, the Visine, the parties, what we were smoking, I don't know, but our eyes were glowing.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, it's all that, it depends on like the technology or the way in which our eyes were bouncing off the light. And, you know, there's plenty of animals that have that too. So it's interesting. Yeah. But I've not experienced the green or blue or any other color. But red amber is kind of what I've had. Yeah, it's nuts to think that technology has come so far. Speaking of like the 90s and the technology, right? We have drones now, which is helpful. We have pheromones, and there's been ideas where, let's put some like ape pheromone on a chip. We'll fly that on a drone, and we'll just kind of coat the area with like this ape pheromone, which stinks to high hell from what I'm hearing, what I've heard. But apparently that has been a technique but we're just not quite there with the technology to fool these things. There was another one where the only time someone actually caught another footage of a Sasquatch was zoomed in way into a specific spot with like a light in the canister that was also, infrared or hidden, right? But that was way up a hill in a cabin through like an open window in a shoebox, like to hide all the light you could possibly hide from this thing. But they're certainly perhaps seeing something that we're not. They're way more cautious of any light. They're not going to like light. So if you're to go back to that technology question, they hate light. It's like a gremlin. That's what I would say is try to be as low key with your technology actually as possible. That's how you're going to experience one. Actually have no technology at all, you're going to probably have a better chance of seeing one.
Do you think it's like frequency, or do you think what do you think that's all about? So we have to cover Rob in pheromones and a taco shop. Okay.
Yeah.
Take notes.
Taco. They might like you, Chloe, because you're a woman, so the Bigfoot might be attracted to you.
That's right. Women in particular, children in particular, super interested in. What was your question again? You had a really good point.
You said it about frequency.
Yes, thank you. Do you think humans have a frequency? A natural?
I think we do for sure. I think we have a toroidal field. We have energy. We have like a we can emit frequency. Yeah, it seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're affected by it, greatly affected by it. I agree with Rob.
I mean, I think the same way that some animals or cats, dogs approach humans is probably the same way that a Sasquatch would approach a human. I can tell that you're like a good shit. I don't even know if it's a good person. A frequency that I'm interested in versus a frequency that I want to stay away from.
Like their aura, they can read their aura. They can read their biofield, their energy.
Yeah, that's right. I don't put it past. Like again, I don't know because we can't study these creatures yet. So I think it's possible. There's definitely a way of acknowledging that those who don't have other mechanical batteries, and even in the paranormal, right? Because the paranormal or the ghost will take the power right out of those things. I think it's a case of they definitely sense it. I tend to also think that so for me, honestly, I dig animals. That's cool. I don't necessarily like want your dog sitting next to me or your cat rubbing up against my leg. I'll just say it. That's fine, I think. But for whatever reason, 10 out of 10 times, I will have a dog jump on my lap. I will have that cat swirling around my ankles, and I don't want it, but they're there. And it's a very interesting dynamic that I feel like I have with those animals, like any animal, where it just kind of comes up to me. So it's almost like perhaps the more you don't want to see a Sasquatch would be like, ooh, you don't want to see me. So then let me show myself to you. Just talking out loud at this point.
Yeah. Are they oppositional?
What do you mean?
Well, like you were telling me not to look before, and I was like, oh God, I want to look. It's like, I feel like sometimes the animals, like you push them and they're like, no, like right on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rob, what were you going to say?
Yeah, Rob.
Oh no, that I was just agreeing with you guys. That's interesting though. It is. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see. I'd like to go Bigfooting myself, and there's supposedly here in Pennsylvania, there's huge sightings of them. They're supposedly going back to Stan Gordon. He reports a lot of people seeing them. There's a place here in Pennsylvania. It's pretty big in paranormal. It's called the Chestnut Ridge, and supposedly on the Chestnut Ridge, there's Thunderbirds, Bigfoot, Dogmen, UFO activity. It's like a paranormal hotspot, It's right near me too. It's somewhat near my the county I live in.
Yeah. And I think that's actually, what was it called? There was an invasion on Chestnut Ridge, which was
that's the documentary. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So that was pretty big. In that, I think that really goes into more of the Sasquatch correlation with aliens in that one, right, Rob?
Yeah, they definitely do. Yeah, they seem to. It seems like a lot of people draw that correlation, but I think it's just because they're so unknown and they're so elusive. They're like aliens in the way that they're so unknown and so elusive that nobody can get a good read on them or how to interact with them.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. So the one book that I will call out is by Ivan Sanderson. So this actually is Abominable Snowman, Legend Comes to Life. It does a really good job of offering an in-depth exploration of the Yeti and similar Sasquatch, Bigfoot type cryptids around the world. So what they do is what he does is actually through really detailed narratives and analysis, he really tries to bridge the gap between myth and reality and arguing the possibility of their existence with cultural impact. And what I'm trying to get at here is the fact that it was only the 1900s where we had only first discovered the gorilla. And to hear from some reports of what the natives thought of a gorilla and the fact that it's elusive, but it had its man-like features, all of those things. It's really important to note that, because at some point, I would imagine in the near future, we will finally have observed a Sasquatch, and what's the next creature, or even in the ocean or space, that it's what's the next thing that becomes, just your everyday, yep, this creature exists. You can go see it in a zoo, big whoop, type of creature.
Maybe it's just a matter of us becoming more familiar with them, and doing more research,
Yeah. Cool. I think you were on mute. Sorry about that.
I didn't realize that. No, I was listening to Rob. Now I kind of forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead, Rob. I'm gonna think about what I was going to say, because you made a good point.
So, and you're featured in a documentary as well, right? Kevin?
Possibly. I've done so many of these at this point where I don't know what my content is used on these days.
We love you, Kev. We do. Welcome to the community.
It's just, yeah, true. But what was your question there, Rob?
I was just seeing, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I have any more questions. I think I'm all out of questions, but like, maybe I could go back to the book. Like, so what did you want people to take away from the book? And would you say it's viably just as good for adults as it would be for children?
Absolutely. I would put it this way. Like, I think the whole topic, I think the whole exploration of everything, all of our conversation tonight is about exploration and opening yourself up to the idea that there's things that we don't know, things that are in front of us that we don't acknowledge, right? Whether it's aliens, Sasquatch, something else, energy, it's all here for our understanding and for us to experience. So whether that's by way of a children's book, which is what I was trying to kind of crack the door open for children to understand, that there's just, don't ever think that you need to put yourself in a box, or that, if you don't meet your goals of trying to do something and you're trying to find that white fox, that because you didn't find it, that means that it's the end, and like, you failed. That it just means that there's other messages that you need to understand, perhaps before you actually see that white fox. I think that is literally the intention of our existence, is to try to learn and understand and grow. I think that that's huge. And whether that's from a children's story, or whether that's from an experience that you see of Sasquatch, whether that's an experience that you see of aliens, or you tie the two together, and whether or not you're seeing a Sasquatch come out of a spaceship handcuffed to a briefcase, it's all for you to interpret, and it's all for you to acknowledge. And I think that perhaps from my own type of lessons, what I'm gathering, even from what I'm getting from all these stories and all the information that I try to absorb on this topic, is try not to break, try not to go down the rabbit hole, and maintain your sanity, because there's a lot of people who are going to not believe you. There's going to be a lot of trolls out there who are going to try to belittle you and bully you. And like, as much as that is the lesson when we were children, like, it's still true as we're adults. Like, we've not evolved enough to not do that to one another.
That's a good point. That's a real good point.
There's just there's so much to learn from, I think, the topics that we love, and showing the strength in getting on podcasts. And you have such an amazing audience, and such a huge audience, where like, those are the people who I would imagine love that message. So hopefully they do.
Yeah, no, I have to give you guys credit, because in the Bigfoot community, you guys are more about like unity and about people. I mean, I've noticed from the thing, I'm just seeing it. So it's really setting like a lot of good examples for the rest of us. Definitely.
It can get a little dicey.
Well, I'm good to hear, because then I was really feeling bad.
I mean, we're not all, as I always kind of say, like, we're not all kumbaya. It's not all love and peace and like, let's share tips. There are certainly those out there who will not share where they're looking, not share their methods, who potentially even take advantage of others just to get ahead in this Bigfoot community. It's like anything else as being human. But I look at it in a certain way to have it be more welcoming. And the more people share their stories, the more people share their methods, experiences, whether that be alien, ghost, or Sasquatch, like, we're all going to move forward in understanding. And like, if that's not what this is about, well, then That was probably the biggest mystery, if that's not what this is about.
Right. Yeah, no, that's so true too. And for all the people, I guess I would love to invite you back, Kev, for a part 2. If
Sure,
you
that'd
be
be
interested. Yeah. And Kev is a Midwesterner, okay? If you didn't catch this before, he's in Wisconsin and I'm in Iowa. So yeah, Kev and I are like. So anyway, Rob, he's kind of tail ending the Midwestern thing. He will get him along though. Yeah, we'll accept you as a Midwesterner, Rob.
Yeah.
David.
No comment. No, he didn't want to be a part of that at all.
He knows I'm
consider myself more East Coast, but I mean, I get it's like a mix. It's like East Coast, Midwest. I'm good with either.
No, we love you, Rob. I was just only joking with you. I was seeing if you're listening. No, but this is great. Like, this is the conversation you're opening up, and people they need to have this. This is something that is really important to people. I think that especially, they're out there, they're feeling isolated, they're not a part of this. People are like, oh, that's crazy. What are you thinking? It's just like so important to connect.
Yeah. There's more of us out there than there are of them. Like, whether or not, you acknowledge yourself as a Bigfoot Sasquatch nerd like I do, everyone, I think, is having these thoughts. And they're trying to find that community and place to go to and, like, try to make it entertaining, share some stories. It's like a campfire. It's a virtual campfire was what we're doing.
That's awesome. And so do you go out on hunts if people are, I guess you shouldn't say hunt with Bigfoot and guns, but do you go out looking?
Yeah, there's certainly times where I don't know the people. And of course, like, you hear the stories and you hear the manner, you see the mannerism. Like, you kind of pick those who are like, oh, okay, I want someone who's a little bit more down to earth. I want to make you a part of my, like, search group. And again, it's no different than when we're up in Duluth and it's like, okay, someone already has a pendulum out. Like, okay, well, now I know where they're headed. And it's like, but that could be a good thing. It's whoever you get connected to. And speaking of energy, Rob, and vibrations and all that, like, I think we as humans even sense that. And, like, you are drawn to people who have potentially similar vibrations or ones that you're attracted to. And, like, you want to go ghost hunting with them or Bigfoot hunting with them. And if you all of a sudden find out that they're also into, like, 80s horror movies, oh, no kidding. And, like, whatever it is, other interests. And now you're hanging out every other weekend or whatever it might be. So it's the way the world works these days. But there's more often than not, there's good people out there. Just be cognizant of those who might want to get ahead and steal all of your methods and all of that. And, like, okay, go for it.
They are real. Yeah. And they do.
Yeah. Or, have the most compelling story of the campfire night. Good on you. It was a great story. Things like that.
Let the ego die.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, man. Well, Kev, thank you so much. And tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So if you want to see some of the books and Bigfoot memorabilia and T-shirts and art that I'm doing, you can totally follow me or catch me on Instagram, which is PineShadowDesign. You can also look at some of the stuff that I have for sale on PineShadowDesign on Etsy. That's PineShadowDesign. My book, Bigfoot, Billy Finds Bigfoot, is on Amazon. It's also on Hanger One Publishing. I saw a really good deal today as far as how much that book costs now on Amazon, and it's a steal.
Sale, yes.
Sales. Amazon sales, it never happen. So yeah, you can find it there. But that's, for right now, that's as much as I've got going on from a social standpoint.
Yeah, and thank you, Polly. She's got, if you guys look right up on the screen right now, you're going to see all of Kev's social media. So, Kev, did you design the shirt you're wearing?
I did. Well, and again, this was a frame, but yes, this was I said, you know what? That frame's got to be put on a T-shirt. I don't think I mean, there might be some out there, but I was like, I got to do my own design. I want to put this out there, share the story. And it's just spooky enough to kind of wear it all the time, but not spooky enough to like not wear it all the time either. So
yeah, it's cool though. No, I love merch. I love merch. I do. I love it.
It's the Bigfoot bug. If for those who know it, or the alien bug, like if you got it, that you start to build this world around you of all sorts of memorabilia, art designs, shirts, like merch. It's just, yeah. But it's
putting yourself out there too. That's your design. That's your, it's cool. It really is. It tells you a lot about people.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Absolutely. So in closing, Rob, is there anything else that we need to corner Kev on before we let him go and invite him back for part 2?
No, this was amazing. Thank you, Kevin. This was I really had a fun time talking to you. I really enjoyed this, and I thought it went really well. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yes,
awesome. Yeah. We'll definitely connect, and we'll get you out there, Rob. If you want to come with me, we can get you out to Wisconsin for sure.
That would be cool. That would be really cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Totally, and I'll extend the invite as well. You're only a stone's throw away. So
I'm coming. I didn't even get the invite on. Yeah,
right.
That would be awesome. Oh man, that would be a lot of fun. We'll get some video out there, and that'd be great. Yeah,
bring a Ouija board. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, I'll come packing. I always come with ghost hunting equipment. But yes, so Kev, thank you so much again. We really appreciate you coming on, and we'll be in touch with you shortly, and we'll get a part 2. So that's great. And yeah, and Rob and we're going to have some exciting stuff coming up, so stay tuned. And in closing, Rob, is there anything you wanted to leave people with?
Nothing. I just been having internet connection issues today. I got kicked off. That's why I'm on my phone. That's why my image looks weird. Like I'm on my phone right now because, I got booted off. Like it wasn't you or it was the internet. Like it was like, I don't know, but I thought this went really great. It was another great show, we're learning more and more about Bigfoot, but I want to start going out into, I want to start doing like he said, and I want to start going out and like, researching.
Oh, that would be awesome too. We should tell him about the East Side Ranch too, because James always talks about the Bigfoot there too. So I'm ready to see one. I really am. I'm ready to see
I want to see some UFOs too. I really want to have a UFO sighting. I don't know why I can't see any here.
Well, with all the light pollution and things, and I know that the ranch or whatever, James, I've seen nightly, he'll send me things and evidence. So I don't think we should have a problem once we get out there in Washington.
That'll be fun. That will be fun. I hope that comes true, and I hope we do plan that out. And like, I think a lot of people in the audience would be down for a trip to East City, and I've been telling my audience I'm going to do something soon anyway. So like, it would be great to do a collab and do something like out there, we should definitely do that.
We're going, Rob. It's already said and done. We're going. It's not even we are going. We just don't have all the details yet, but we are going, and we are going to be broadcasting live from there. I promise you, this is going to be exciting. That's huge, and getting people and everybody together, and they can experience all this stuff together, whether you're a skeptic or not, or experiencer or whatever. It's like Rob said, when you go to these conferences, it's like your soul family connecting. You get to connect with other people that are like-minded, and it's an experience. It definitely is.
Yeah, that's what it was for me when I went to Florida both years. I felt like I was just like around, like family. It's amazing, So I think it'll be great, and I think we have a good group between my audience and your audience. So I think it'll be good to join the groups, and like I think we'll get there was a little bit of fighting in my chat tonight. I was trying to break it up, but sometimes they just go,
Which is okay. The conflict's okay. There would really, luckily there weren't 2 people in the room, but no, that happens. That totally happens in life and with things. And it's like, I just let people hash it out for the most part is what I do. So I don't think you did anything that, that's out of your control. But I absolutely love, I've spent a lot of time. I've kind of been busy the last couple of days, but I love your chat. I love the people in your chat. I love and it's like, the more I get to know them, it's wonderful. And I hope that, we bridge that gap, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think we will. I think if we keep doing this, it'll work out. I really do. We just got to keep being consistent. I think consistency is key.
Absolutely. And we got for the next, few Fridays coming up. I mean, like we got Fridays like nailed for like the list. I mean, they just keep coming. So
I'm really excited on what you're really working on, though, which I don't even want to tell people yet. Or should you want to say?
I always got something brewing. That's definitely, you know me too well, Rob. You really do. But we've come together. We've been doing this for quite some time, and behind the scenes we talk a lot. Rob and I are pretty close, whether people know that or not. And we really we got some fun stuff coming. We do. We're bringing it.
it. Hell yeah.
Right. Well, in closing, this is absolutely, we want to thank everybody in chat, everybody who's been here. There's lots of positive comments. I love those. And so, we're, like I said, Rob and I are going to keep nailing away, and we're going to bring it. We are going to bring it. So, just stay tuned and we'll keep you up to date. And thank you again, everybody. So enjoy your weekend, stay safe. And Rob, do you got shows you want to talk about tomorrow or coming up tonight?
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, I'll be on every day. I'm on every day pretty much. I'm on every day for the most part. But I mean, I got some good stuff coming up too. I mean, I don't, we'll see what happens. I don't want to announce it because if I announce it, it'll go bad.
I know. Don't jinx it. That's why I'm too. I'm like, oh, we're going. But if I didn't know for sure we were going to the SETI Ranch, I wouldn't say it. But I don't like to jinx things either because that just kind of leaves it open. It's like knock on wood or something. I should, try it.
Yeah.
But so right. So, and that being said, in our elusive talk, we will when we get it nailed down, we'll bring it to you. So, and with all of that, I want to thank everybody again for taking the journey into the unknown with Coley here on SNX Radio and Rob over there at Typical Skeptic Podcast, and we will be seeing you shortly. So,
all right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. See you.
Our guide in the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From this combination X quest, the truth is our guide in the vast expanse. It's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller ring we'll never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX Radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stay.